one, fight!
What's up YouTube, Dow here from Zeph War Games, coming back at you with another live duel. So this was from our last weekend's locals and possibly the last one of the year. And we've got Charlie on the right hand side playing Virtual Worlds and I am playing UAs. So this was a friendly game after our main match. And basically it's a learning experience for both myself on Virtual Worlds and for Charlie on UAs as well. With that said and done, please smash the like button, hit the notification bell and subscribe. If this video gets at least 50 likes, I will bring you the duel between Fur Hires and UAs as well, so it gives you something a little bit extra to enjoy. Anyway, Charlie starts off with the Virtual World spell, which then allows him to pretty much activate a Virtual World spell or trap directly from his deck, which he chooses to bring out the Virtual World trap. Now, I don't know all of these effects right off the top of my head, but he then uses the Virtual World, I believe is Lulu, in the hand, which targets a Virtual World card. You then send a card of a different type, and then the third type, so obviously you saw that he targeted the trap, sent the spell, and then when it's summoned, you send the third type, being the monster, from the to the deck as well. So that's specifically what that card does. He then banishes the spell, which allows him to add another Virtual World monster, and I believe this one is Lulu. Lulu is then the exact same effect, so it can special summon itself from the hand by targeting a Virtual World card. He declares to target the monster. That then means that Charlie can then send a trap and add a spell, or send a spell and add a trap. So you see where this is kind of going. So he sends the trap, and then he's obviously able to add, or once it's summoned, he can then successfully, I believe, add a spell. I don't know what the Lulu, or I don't know the Lulu effect off the top of my head. A revive, there you go. So Lulu lets you revive one from grave. And then straight away, he's got a level 3 tuner that becomes tuner and makes it a level 9 synchro. Now, the level 9 synchro is basically Dark Law. Any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. If it is in your graveyard, you can banish 2 cards with different names and special summon it back. So it just floats like an annoyance. But basically what this has allowed him to do is he's put a couple of Virtual World cards in the graveyard. He can then banish the trap to then get an additional effect off. And then he's going to be able to pretty much synchro. So I think he banishes it to reduce 1 or increase ones by 3. So he reduces the Virtual World synchro by 3. Lulu is a tuner, so then he tunes into Cloud Castle. Cloud Castle then brings back the synchro and then makes VFD. And it's just like, okay, cool. That was fun. Ultimately, like, my hand's not too bad. Like, I could play through this if I knew what the trap did off the top of my head. So VFD is going to cause me issues. He decides not to shotgun VFD at the start, just in case I've got like an imperm or something. So got the extrav, banished top 6. Literally, like, my extra deck was nothing. You could have banished any 6, it wouldn't have mattered. I get the additional 2 draws, which is absolutely fine. My hand's pretty good. I mean, I've got a sign-in deal. I got the field spell, and as long as I put the right cards on the board, I can pretty much out the VFD the next turn. But then this is the part of me not knowing what the trap does. So that's very reinforcement of the army. Search out Libero Spiker, because then again, Libero Spiker activates during my opponent's turn, which means I'm not really too worried about VFD in that case. My overall goal is to get something else. Now, he declared Dark, so the cards in my hand are Earths, so I'm still able to activate the cards in my hand. So I activate the Brownie Field spell, so the Hyper Stadium, which then gets me the normal UA Stadium. Reveal that. There's no need for an additional normal. There wasn't a need for additional normal, so I reveal the field spell, get an additional normal, swap the field spells over. Normal summon 1, Libero Spiker. Obviously, no effect on Libero Spiker, but effect of the field spell to search me out another UA monster. So obviously the first one you always go for is Perfect Ace if you don't already have it. The next one, in my opinion, is Back Blocker, and then it depends if you want to keep Libero Spiker out or not. So special summon that down. Field spell gives me an extra 500. Additional normal summon of Libero Spiker, which gives me another search, which is going to be the Back Blocker. And this is where, like, if my board ends the way that I end it with, because I use sign-in deal as well, if it ends the way that I was expecting it to go, I'm absolutely fine. But the trap card is actually a disruption that I didn't realise. I probably should have read it. So the idea was that I was going to set up Perfect Ace and block backer to protect during my turn, and then use UA sign-in deal to bring out any monster, and I think I go for Slugger. So I take 1500 life points damage as well. Go for Slugger, and then return Slugger to hand using the effect of Liberu Spiker, summon itself down, and then I'm good to go. So the only time that VFD shuts off in the hand is if he calls the attribute within your hand, like that you actually have. So if he called Earth, I probably wouldn't be able to special summon all these monsters. But obviously he played it that he didn't know what I was playing, to be fair, and kind of went that way. So then in the end phase, what the trap does is it targets 2 of its banished virtual world cards, shuffles them into the deck, and then destroys 1 card on the field. So straight away he destroys my perfect ace, and I can't protect it because I'm under VFD. So all I've kind of got is boosted monsters here. I do have Liberu Spiker's effect. I've got Player Manager in hand as well, but then Player Manager would go on in a separate chain. So already by that point, I'm under VFD. So I was kind of like, there wasn't a lot that I could have done because everything would have been a chain late. So even if I went chain, tag out my Liberu Spiker for Perfect Ace, my Perfect Ace would still be like, I still wouldn't be able to use my Perfect Ace effect because he's VFD'd me. So like I had no kind of way of playing it. But what you do see here from Charlie, which is really cool, is what the virtual worlds can do. So he activated the virtual world to play the trap last turn. This turn he's actually activated the spell from hand, and I believe the spell allows him to negate a card. But you'll see how fast he now goes from this position into getting 2 more virtual world spell and traps on the field, then activate the virtual world, which then allows him to bring out up to 4 monsters from the extra deck with different names, or virtual world monsters from the extra deck with different names. So it just kind of shows you how you can go from one extreme to the next, and that's why it's so good. Is VFD can like lock out your opponent during turn 1, and then turn 2 you use VFD's second effect because you're going to OTK them to pretty much go from there. So as you can see, his whole back row is now completely full, but because he's activated the field spell, not the field spell, the virtual world spell, all of its effects go off. So his virtual world monsters gain 200 attack, doesn't really matter right now. He excavates the top 3, and then because he's got 4, he's allowed to summon 4 out. So he brings out the level 9, he brings out the level 6 Synchro, he brings out the rank 6 XYZ as well. So he's just filled up his board with 3 monsters from the edge there, which is nuts. I'm sorry for the glare, guys. I couldn't control that at the venue we were at. I will need to get like a sun blocker or something for the next time to kind of show you the cards clearly, but that's why I decided to do this. Anyway, so he banishes 2 virtual worlds from the grave to bring back another Chile, I think it is, or the level 9. So he's now got 2 level 9 monsters at 2,800 each. He's got a VFD at 3k, and then he's got a 2,400, a 2,400 Synchro as well, and then he's got a 1,200 or 1,400 Lulu. He's still got the track card, so if he banishes enough, he can use the track card to pop one of my cards. My effects are all null and void. I've got no cards to trigger in hand. So this literally just shows you the power of Virtual World and what they can actually do. So it's really kind of cool, really interesting. I really like the deck. I think the deck's got quite a nice concept, and it has got future investment because they are getting some new support in Blazing Vortex. So that's also really cool. And as you can see from here, if I was to clear Charlie's board and survive this turn, don't know how, but if I was, he's still got his 4 virtual world spells and traps set there. So he just activates the spell card again and then brings all of his cards out, and I was just like, yep, cool, you got me on that one. Like I said, the VFD wasn't much of an issue. It was that virtual world trap that really, really hit me in the kickers. Because like I said, if I had Perfect Ace, VFD goes to use his effect. I use Percy with Ace to negate, and then I've got block backer to then turn off Lulu or whatever the first card he summons is if I want it to be. It'll still probably get the 4 spells, but even then I would still have the ability to use Liberu Spiker to bounce back and then bring out Ace if I want to, and then Ace can pop, not Ace, sorry, Player Manager, and then Player Manager can pop a back row. Anyway, going into game 2 on this one, literally, this is where you start to see UAs play. So UAs are really, really good at going first and second right now. The new cards just make it so consistently. The only thing that I've got a question mark over, and this is something Donald raised, but as far as I was understanding, the new field spell of Hyper Stadium gives you that additional normal for the turn. So the field spell doesn't need to stay on the field. So you replace it with a new one, because that makes logical sense. Like, surely you search out the old one, you replace it with the old one, use your additional normal, get a search, use your new normal, get a search. And like, that's kind of how you should be able to, like, that's not too broken on the level of things. Opening up extra 2 games in a row is broken though. And I don't mind that because baiting out the Ash straight away, like my extra means nothing to me. So from this point on, I've got terraforming, I've got field spells, I've got plays. So activate Hyper Stadium. Now this time I don't need to reveal the field spell because I had terraforming. Means I can add a UA ace or add a UA card which cuts out the middleman straight away. Activate the field spell. That way then you'd get your normal summon as well if you didn't already. Reveal, get the additional normal for the turn. Replace the field spell. Normal summon midfielder. Effective field spell to give me back blocker. So these are the first two defensive cards I always go for. Not a lot of people play back blocker, but I really like him. Bounce back midfielder, summon down ace. Ace gains 500 attack. Normal summon midfielder, effect to the field spell, search me out another one. So this one's going to be Liberu Spiker. Is always the third one that I always search. On the defensive plays anyway. Midfielder's effect is it can target another UA and bounce it back. But bounce back for block backer. He's going to go up to a 2100 attack. Ace is 2500 attack. But I've got an Omni negate with ace. And I've got a monster negate with... block backer. He's activated Foolish Barrel Goods. I ash it because I know like he just wants to set up his graveyard. Once you start setting up your graveyard, that's when you can start getting advantage of this. He activates the spell again. I was like, I can't let you get that trap on the board. So I was like, right, negate. And then at that point, he was like, yeah, I have nothing left. That was kind of it. And then from this point, this is where you can now recur. So you couldn't play through 2 interruptions. Liberu Spike is going to go off. That's going to trigger the field spell, the Search Me Out. Dunker, because Dunker is your most aggressive UA card, the one that if you deal damage you get to pop a card. Bounce that back, bring him down. He's going to go up to 3k. Special summon player manager, switch everything to attack because obviously ace would have gone up to 3-5, block backer would have gone up to 3-1, Dunker would have ended up being 3-5, and then player manager would have been 25, and it was just like cool, boom, one shot kill. Now for the third game, because this was after our normal game, this was literally in like not in time, but this was while the other games were going on. So time does get called, but we try to play the game through. So what we do is we just reveal the hands and kind of just play through. So I can't remember if Charlie let me go first. We'll find out. Yeah, he lets me go first. I was like, okay, cool. So terraforming straight away. You play 7 field spells. So like. And 4 versions of the new Hyper Stadium, and I'm telling you, the Hyper Stadium is so good. Absolutely love it. Even if it doesn't do the way that I think it works, if it has to stay on the field, it's kind of like, all right, fine. I just lose a search, but it still gives me play. Time got called here, so I was like, right, okay. So this is what I'd do: is we play the field out. So Stadium adds me my normal summon, replace that, get my additional normal summon, search. Gets perfect ace, special summon down perfect ace, normal Liberu Spiker, search out another card. Now, this is the interesting part, is because at this point, you've already got your normal summon. The next one you then do after you've got your 2 defensive cards is go for player manager, special summon down back blocker, set goes and set imperm pass. So he's got desires. It's like, do I let desires go through or do I stop it? I've got the 2 in hand. I think I let the desires go through and he drew into double ogre. I was like, ooh, that sucks. Activates this spell. Now this is, like I said, I think this one negates a card effect or something. It can be very troublesome. So I was like, no, we're not going to have that here. We don't do that here. I was like, I'll let you activate it. And then I was like, activate the effect, then I'll do something. But obviously the second he puts a monster down as well, I can imperm it because it's in my imperm column. So he uses the monster effect in hand to target the spell, which then means it will summon itself, send a monster or spell, and then add a monster or spell. So it's Lulu. So he sends the trap, and then he adds the monster. Like at this point, I'm just not threatened right now. Like there's no danger coming my way. He reveals the monster in hand, targets the spell to then summon itself back down as well. So this will give him his level 9 plays. Again, not really too fussed because he knows I've got the Gozen, but this is the same play he's going to make. And he's just, right now, he's put 1 earth and 1 wind on board. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to flip Gozen here. That locks you into wins only. I don't see how you're playing through that. And then that was kind of it. We kind of just scooped it up from that point because I think I had the control phase kind of down. Yeah, and that is it for the UA versus Virtual World. Like I said, there was a really quick game in between the middle or towards the end of a round, but we do have obviously UAs versus Fur Hire Brigade as well. But for now, I hope you like that video. Again, something a little bit different, a duel that you might not always see floating around because it's not always like Rocket League versus the next big meta thing. These are still two very, very good decks that have future potential as well. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, guys, as absolutely always, stay safe and happy dueling.